In our economy today, the knowledge worker is a huge deal. They're the strategists, the consultants, the coders, really the brain power behind our most successful companies. But there's this really fascinating and much more complex story behind that prestigious title, and that's what we're going to unpack today. So let's just dive right in.
So let's kick things off with a big one. What does a knowledge worker actually do? I mean, you probably picture someone applying their janky deep expertise to solve some really tough problems, right? Just a straightforward use of pure brain power. But what if that's not even half the story?
Well, according to sociologist Mats Alvesson, the answer is way more complicated than that simple picture. So let's start peeling back the layers on one of the most celebrated jobs in the modern world.
Okay, first things first, we've got to understand the popular myth, this kind of heroic image of the knowledge worker that we all have in our heads. It's an image of pure, unadulterated intellectual firepower.
And the stage for this myth is what's called the knowledge-intensive company. Just think of your top law firms, big-shot management consultancies, or major tech companies. The whole idea is that these places are built on brain work, where their most important asset is their super-educated employees. And this brings us right to the heart of the myth. This belief that if you have exceptional expertise, it'll lead directly to exceptionally good results. It's a really clean, simple equation, right? You've got a problem, you hire a brilliant expert, they do their brilliant expert thing, and voila, problem solved. But Alvesson's research suggests this is a massive oversimplification. And this is exactly where that simple myth starts to fall apart. See, Alvesson argues the whole foundation of knowledge work isn't solid rock at all. It's actually built on three fundamental ambiguities, and they change everything.
So Alvesson points to three core areas of fuzziness. First, what even is knowledge? It's not always so clear. Second, how much of the actual day-to-day work is really about applying that formal knowledge? And third, how on earth do you evaluate the results? A lot of the time, it's pretty much impossible to say for sure.
This quote just nails that first point perfectly. Knowledge is a slippery and elusive concept. Even the experts have a tough time pinning it down. It's not some fixed thing you can just point to and measure. And this slide just lays out the gap between the belief and the reality so well. We believe that experts are basically just applying a systematic, almost formulaic body of knowledge. But the reality on the ground? Oh, it's messy. It's uncertain. Every situation is unique. And in that kind of environment, things like social skills, being flexible, and knowing how to navigate office politics, well, they can often be way more important than what you learned in a textbook.
Which, of course, leads us to a really interesting question. If the knowledge is slippery, if the work isn't just about applying it, and if the results are hard to measure, then what is it that actually makes someone successful? What's the real game being played here?
And here it is. Here's the big reveal. When the substance of your work is ambiguous, what becomes the most important thing is perception. Success becomes a performance, and the name of that performance is impression management. You see, the real skill isn't just knowing the answer, it's convincing everybody else that you do. In a world full of uncertainty, you have to master three key arts: managing your image, crafting persuasive rhetoric, and building solid social relations.
Okay, let's break this down. First up, you've got image. This is all about projecting professionalism and expertise, often as a stand-in for tangible results you can't really show. Next, rhetoric. This is the art of telling a good story about your work, using persuasive language to prove your value. And finally, relations. Think about it. In a world full of uncertainty, clients and bosses stick with people they know and trust. Building those social connections becomes a huge part of the job because it reduces anxiety for everyone involved.
This model from Alverson's paper ties it all together beautifully. Let's just walk through it. You start with knowledge work, which, as we've seen, is full of ambiguity. That ambiguity then forces workers to focus on the things they can control: their image, their rhetoric, and their relations. But here is the critical part. This constant performance puts immense pressure on the worker's self-identity. Your sense of who you are becomes a tool for the job, and that brings us to the next piece of this puzzle. Because if your success depends on how you perform and how you're perceived, then your very sense of self, your identity, becomes a part of the job description. Who you are gets tangled up with how you work. Just think about it. When your competence and your results are hard to prove with facts and figures, your professional identity becomes really fragile. It's unstable. You start needing constant validation from everyone around you, clients, bosses, coworkers, just to feel secure. Your self-worth gets tied to a performance.
And organizations, well, they understand this dynamic perfectly. They actively manage and regulate employee identity to make sure everyone is performing the right way. They've got four main tactics. First, corporate identification. That's making you really proud to say, I work at this prestigious company. Second, cultural control, using things like shared values to shape how you act. Third, normalization. They set a standard for what a professional looks and acts like, so you try to fit that mold. And finally, the most powerful one, subjectification. This is where they get you to believe, deep down in your core, that you are the exact type of person who was just born to do this job.
So the crucial point here, the big takeaway from all this, is really a new definition. Being knowledge intensive isn't just about having a lot of knowledge. It's about being intensive in rhetoric, in image, in social interaction, and maybe most of all, in the constant regulation of your own identity. It is a much richer and, honestly, a much more challenging picture of what this kind of work is really all about.
And that leaves us with one final thought to take with you. In your own life, in your own career, just how much of your success is really about what you know, and how much of it is about the performance, about how other people perceive you? It's a pretty powerful question to think about.